hold on. Let's not revise history here.
Okay, all right.
We actually haven't talked about this because no one asks us about this,
This is true.
and I think it would be good to talk about this.
It would be immoral not to. You're right.
Um,
Okay.
so the Ring theme actually originally, um, so the Ring theme was written for when the goblins are rooting through looking for rings.
Okay.
And the one goblin opens up his pouch and puts the ring in, and you see the rings.
That is true.
The ring.
Yeah.
Originally, that's where
that is true.
the
Yes.
theme occurred, and that's the only place that we actually recorded the theme for.
Yes.
And it was purely this sort of, at the time, was like this, when we saw the scene and we were going through it, it's like, well, this seems like if we're going to use the ring theme, like it should be here.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the obvious place that it would be. And because we did feel like it was important to make these kind of nods to, if something was logical, that was, we didn't want to use themes incorrectly or for the sake of using them, but
100%.
if there was a logical place. So that was there. But then what happened, which tends to happen on a lot of movies, is what happens at the very beginning in terms of like the opening credits and the text and all that tends to come quite late in the day. And so originally the overture, the music that starts the film, started, that music started when the eagles are flying in and you're coming over the map and then we were talking a lot about it, and we knew that there were going to be titles, but no one could really give us a clear indication of what they would be or how long they were. And so we sort of looked at the previous films and looked at the various things involved, and basically we took a guess, and then we had this discussion, and it was like, we're like, well, ideally, Steven's going to write something that is malleable so that if that length changes, we can kind of squeeze it or, pull it apart a bit to get what length we needed, because we knew that we wanted to start with music. All of these films have started music dead from the beginning, setting the mood of where things are. Yeah. It's never been any logo music or anything like that. So we definitely didn't want that, but we were guessing. And then what happened is that our guess was significantly too short. And so we had this nice little opening thing that Stephen had done, which is what you hear at the very beginning. And then we had the overture when the eagles, but then we had this hole. And it was like, what can we do here? How can we fill this hole? And it just so happened at the same time, we decided that bit of the ring theme later on when the goblins are doing that was too much music, and it was interfering with what they were saying, and that it was a space we just should not have music and be outside in the cold, hear them breathing, hear clearly what they're talking about, and not try to get involved there. And then it was like, and so then it became this natural, okay, well, we've taken that out, but all the other films have always had the ring theme at the beginning,
right,
over the logos. And how would that look if we took this and we stuck it in this hole we have? And then it was like, oh, that actually feels pretty good and works pretty well. And then we also, at the same time, like, we were still kind of not quite working, which is when we put the little wood block in. That was something we'd recorded with our taiko players, because it was something we liked and we weren't sure how we would use it or where, but it seemed like an appropriate thing to have. And so then we took that little opening that Stephen had written, and we edited the ring theme onto that, and then put the woodblock on that, and then went into what was the original overture. And it was like, okay, that feels pretty nice. So then we played that for everyone over the mock-up of the opening they'd had, and then it was like everyone was instantly happy.